Hello. So today I want to expand upon what I was talking about yesterday. I named my spiel from yesterday, Don't Give Away Your Secret or Sacred Key. Today I'm going to name it You're Made Out of Nothing. And I also have a word of the day. It's unison. It's not a unicorn, it's a unison. So yesterday I was talking about different numbers, mathematical and geometrical expressions. I want to continue with this a little bit. So the number 3 and the number 4 combined, number 3 being the number of the spirit and the number 4 being number of matter, combined, it's a human, number 7. And I mean, many of these things are mystical, metaphysical, but they're also going to be combined with a lot of studies, Jesus studies, as well as science. So if you are interested, continue listening. So I have this little drawing here, which is the number 3, the triangle, the number 4, square, and of course this is an expression, flat expression of the pyramid and the cube, as we talked about yesterday. So when they're combined, they give number 7, which is the human. Why? Because the human is both combination of spirit and matter. And when spirit goes down to matter, that's a devolution. When matter goes up to spirit, it's the evolution. A little terminology here, so we're all on the same page. So actually, before even I continue, I came across something which I wrote on March 3rd, and this is very relevant to my situation at the moment because I'm pushed to do something which is mandated over me as a mandatory push, which I do not want to do. So I was looking around and I came to my notes from March 3rd, and this is what it says. Your body is your house, your castle. Sounds familiar, right? John 14:23. Your home is your castle. So let me read a little more. Protect your body like your house. Since you live there, in and out, intruders are not welcomed. Close the doors and the windows to them. Only consciously invite who you want. Make a choice. Be free and sovereign. Keep your house clean, inside and out. Take showers of light and water, and kick the intruders out forever. Shut the windows and the doors to them, for never to return again. They have been rebuked. Interesting read. But all right, so not to go too deep into this, let's continue. So I wanted to talk today more about the number 4, which is the number of matter. And but before I get to the number 4, I have to talk about the number 2. And why? So I'll give a little example. One day I was sitting on a chair and just staring around, and that house I used to live had an apple tree in the yard. So my gaze was straight at this apple tree, and I was looking at it thinking nothing, and all of a sudden an apple came down to the ground. Sounds familiar, right? I'm not the first one who observes an apple coming down from a tree, but I'm not Newton. So what came to my mind was, there is something in this example. What is it? And then I started thinking, well, this apple tree came from a seed. And this seed was in the dark ground for the long time before it became an apple tree. But now it's expressing itself and it's giving a lot of apples, since there is this apple which goes to the ground, and maybe a seed will go into the dark and then it will create more apples. So what is it? It's a constant rotation between potential and expression. It's like the potential energy gets built up and it expresses itself in a kinetic energy, like in the physics we study in high school. So the potential kinetic cycle, but it's also the dark and the light, and it's also like perpetual mobile. It never ends. So You can look at this at many different ways. Dark and the light, the 0 and the 1, the plus and the minus and the plus ones, whatever. It's or the evolution and the evolution cycle. But it's also corresponding to the law of the rhythm. Remember I mentioned the emerald tablets yesterday and the 7 hermetic principles. So one of them is the law of rhythm. It's like the pendulum never stops. The flow never stops. It's always in and out from and to. So I just wanted to mention this here as well. So going back to matter and the number 4. So matter, speaking of this little diagram here, which is 3 plus 4, 7, human, spirit, and matter, this corresponds, funny, right? Corresponds to the law of correspondence, as above, so below. So whatever happens in the spirit realms happens in the material world, and vice versa. All right, so number 4, let's think. We are made out of nothing. What are we made out of? Well, when we go to the basics of who we are in a matter expression, we are pretty much at the beginning. We are made out of 4 chemical elements. It's just 4 of them. It's the hydrogen, the carbon, the nitrogen, and the oxygen. I have the little circularly diagrams here. So look at the hydrogen. What does that thing have? It has 1 electron and 1 proton. It's got nothing. It's like 99.9% of nothing. Just 2 particles which are attracted to each other through some kind of pulsation. And then look at the carbon. The carbon has the number 6. Funny enough, 6. Keep in mind that many of these numbers, they've been hijacked for many different reasons in the matrix. So the original meaning of a number could have been 1, but then has been different meaning has been put or reprogrammed in our consciousness to think it means something else. So the carbon, and as we say, we have carbon DNA. That number 6, if it's multiplied by 3, it's 666. But it's 18, which is 9, which is the number of love and God. So don't even think about, what a meaning of what has been given to you, because at the very beginning, the matrix, the meaning of these numbers was very, very different from what has been put in human consciousness as of now. So this is the carbon, and then we have nitrogen and the oxygen, the 7 and the 8. So this is why when we look at the very basic chemical structure of what a human body is made out of, it's a pure stardust of 99.9% of nothingness. And what else? Oh, on this page here, I have that little picture with a pentagram and a little pentagram within the pentagram. So it's a very good meditational picture. Besides my beautiful drawing, right? I have such a drawing skills. But if you draw it on your own and make it beautiful and meditate on it, see what you see. Look at the center. Sometimes strange things come out of meditative pictures. That's one of the best ones I actually found so far. So let's go back to matter and number 4. What else besides the chemical elements is in 4? Our DNA. There are 4 basic acids, the 4 bases, the A, C, T, G. They're just 4 of them. They're just molecules, and they look kind of funny also. When I looked at them at the beginning, when I was studying this information, they look like pentagrams or hexagons, and the ones which don't have the little funny structure on top of them are called pyramidines, but the ones which have this little funny structure are called purines. So the pyramidines, they're just hexagons, and the purines, they're hexagons with attached pentagrams. So those little molecules, and they only combine in certain way. They don't go random. They're combined. The C combines with the G, and the A combines with the T. So this is, here we go, another number 4 in our existence. So I just wanted to expand upon this a little bit. Initially, when I started, when my curiosity around DNA arose, I looked at, I was amazed, 3.2 billion base pairs, but only 64,000 of them are coded. You know, because these things, as I said, they only combine in a specific order. They're not randomized, but they also code in 3 base pairs of words. They create words, like 3 base pairs. For example, ACG, TTT, and we've only discovered 64,000 codes out of those words, but there are 3.2 billion base pairs. So what are the other ones doing? When initially science discovered this, they said, they're doing nothing. So they called them junk DNA. Well, these days they know they're not doing nothing, but I haven't heard of a different name or like a sound scientific theory what exactly is in those codes. So, but look at this. So, and again, and I'm comparing everything with computers. So, wonder why? Maybe because I'm in information technology. 64-bit operating system. Those 3-word base pairs. In the state, the human has been so far. It's just a 64-bit operating system with amazing potential. So, and I said this yesterday. So 2 to the power of 6, 64-bit, growing to be 2 to the power of 12. So look at that little picture at the bottom. So here come the 4 chemical elements, HC and O. They light shines on them. DNA recombines. Out of the DNA comes the RNA. Out of the RNA comes the protein. Out of the protein comes the organ. And out of the many organs comes the human. Right? So we're still made out of nothing. But we're only 64-bit operating system in this picture. But we have the billions of potential coming, coded, but not unboxed yet. So, and why am I making this this point? Because so in today's world, we know those 3 string braids which we have in our DNA. But once we expand beyond the 4th dimensional shell and we go beyond, we're going to be seeing 2 more 3 strain braids added to our potential. So we will be not 2 to the power of 6, we'll be 2 to the power of 12 operating system. And I'm saying this because, and I'm still comparing humans with computers because it's really very close in that regard. So can an operating system though be upgraded on old hardware? Good question. Sometimes not. So sometimes the hardware needs to get an upgrade. So the software can be downloaded to the newly upgraded hardware. Sometimes you just need brand new hardware. So I don't know. So I guess everybody's different. All right. So moving on. What else has the number 4 in our world? Well, guess what? There are 4 directions with planet Earth. It's the north, south, east, west. And there are many different things. I'm probably missing some of them, but this is like the point of the law of correspondence, as above, so below. The law of rhythm, like the flow is constant, never ends. And the binary universe, which is the expression of the potential darkness into light, and how we actually begin from 4 basic chemical elements, which when we look at them, they're pretty much empty. They're made out of nothing. And we are an expression of the light. By the way, our cells, they're very, very aware of the dark and light cycles, as many of you know. And the meaning of chromosome, chrome is color and some is body. But there are different cells in the body which, for example, the birds, they have cells which react to the magnetic fields of the planet behind their eyes. This is how they know where to fly. We also have, each of our cells in our body is extremely well aware of the light which comes through us. So one day I was laughing with a friend of mine, and I'm like, so humans operate on light, and sometimes some wine, maybe from here and there. So one additional thing which I wanted to mention was, although we are talking about the 2s and the 4s and numbers, there was one thing which came to mind as well. So if you look at this line on top, it's just a line. The line splits in 2, it becomes 2. And the 2 split into 2, it's a 4. And then it's a 6, and it's an 8. And it goes down to infinity. That one question maybe has something to do with the law of 1. Who knows? So it's many to 1, 1 to many. And the microcosmos and the macrocosmos, and maybe they're related. So, all right, what else? I also wanted to mention the number 7. Why? So, the electromagnetic spectrum, the visible spectrum, which we see, the rainbows, there are 7 different colors, as well as many of you know, the energy centers of our body, or the chakras, they're 7. I mean, I used to see them very clearly some time ago. Now I see them in different shapes and forms. But in terms of our perception as humans expressed in this body, we really have very limited spectrum of vision and hearing. So the hearing is between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz. That's not a lot of hearing. And the vision is even less than that. It's like 740 nanometers to 380 nanometers. So that's not a lot of spectrum we can see. That's pretty much whatever we see with the rainbow. That's it. But we know there are radio waves, there are microwaves, there's infrared, there's ultraviolet, there are X-rays, there are gamma rays, you name it. But we can only detect a certain portion of those spectrums. So maybe when our DNA expands beyond our 64-bit operating system, we will be able to hear more, and we may be able to see more. Who knows? Let's see how this is going to develop moving forward. So I also mentioned yesterday how everybody has a specific key or a specific song which sings with the body. And when I was looking into this information, I came across the Solfegio notes. So the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, which is the European-Italian way of studying music up until this day. And each one of them has specific frequency, and each one of them could be potentially attuned to the frequency of the bodily energy centers, which, by the way, have electromagnetic color. Electromagnetic is color, and the sound is mechanical wave. We talk about this some other time. I think I mentioned yesterday that in my impressions, the light holds the structure and the sound vibrates within the structure, but they're interconnected. They're not separated. So why am I mentioning the sound and the solfeggio frequencies? Because the cells are not only aware of the light and influenced by the light, but they're also aware of the sound. They're singing their own song. So if one cell is singing a song, all the cells in the body instantaneously know what this cell is saying. They are not isolated. The body is an incredible, intelligent system. So, and I was thinking about this one day, and I was staring at my computer, looking at the calculator. I wonder why. So looking at the calculator, and then it occurred to me that what I'm looking at actually, and I cannot find it now, I wanted to show you, is exactly the solfeggio frequencies. Oh, here it goes. So that little square here is the calculator on my computer. So anyway you recombine those numbers, you end up in the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, those frequencies, but in different octaves. You know, like the piano has how many? 8 or 7 or 8 octaves. So you recombine them in a different way, and you go to the next octave of the same note. So this was interesting to note. And why is this important? There is a study with tuning forks. So the body does react to precise sounds and tunes. So if you intune the cell to sing a song with a beautiful frequency, then most of the cells, they may resonate to the same frequency, unless there is a push of resistance coming from somewhere else, of course. But this is a topic for a different day. The other thing I wanted to mention here was the Schumann Resonance. So the Schumann Resonance is the Earth's, so to say, heartbeat. 7.83 hertz used to be. Now it's different. Some of the forks which are used, they multiply the Schumann's resonance by 369. I ordered mine by 12. I made a custom one. So I did very high frequency. And sometimes I use it, and sometimes it helps. It depends on the different factors, but it has to be used, you know, so to prevent the cells to go back in their old song, you gotta sing the new song a lot. So what else I wanted to mention today? There is this person, more numbers and fractals, and I'm just throwing things out. One day, I don't want to keep those long. One day I'll just have a specific topic which I'll talk about more in depth. But this is the tetraionic studies which Kelvin Abraham in Australia is doing. He used to be an electrical engineer, and then he shifted into this new theory of physics. If you go to his website, he creates those little, you can make them out of paper, you can print them out, and those are the quarks, the way they are recombined. So the theory of physics as we know it today, actually in his studies becomes really very different. He has the 0-point fields and electromagnetic waves. But this triangle, it's a very simple way of presenting numbers in a triangular way of 264 again. There is so much to talk about. So in this diagram here, at the bottom, I have the different DNA braids within different expansion in terms of, as I'm still saying, operating system bits, how expensive it may be. And this is a picture we're going to be talking about at a different time, the one which I think I named an ascension diagram. So that's a conversation for a different day. Ascension diagram, and little more of the same. Actually, I'll probably have to end. So what I'm going to do at the end is I just want to end with, you know, at the beginning when I started receiving this information, I didn't know if the information was like devices or meditations or what is it. So, and then I realized it could be both. You know, it's just consciousness, and consciousness expresses in meditation, consciousness expresses in mechanical things, consciousness is everywhere, so it doesn't really matter. But this meditation here, it's just a technique which recharges your field, and I call the technique the rainbow umbrella. So you're standing under an umbrella similar to like the heating lamps used in some outdoor places. So you're standing under this umbrella, and rainbow sparkles are showering you. and your feet, there is an energetic cork to the earth between your feet, and there is cork from your head up to space. So this is how you clear your field. You stay under the umbrella. The sparkles, they're electromagnetic, so they're electrical and magnetic with the different colors, and they shower your field, and there is an exchange. The charge which goes to the earth is the mother, and the charge received from space is the father. So you're rebalancing the feminine and the masculine. You're balancing and recharging your field, and the space which is in between, imagine like a tube in between. So you're tubing between space and earth, and you're standing under this rainbow sparkly umbrella, recharging your field. And take a look at this. That is the rainbow umbrella meditation. It does help.